Lady NoSleep is intrigued by the alleged real alien bodies from Mexico. So today, I will narrate 2 allegedly true alien encounters. Story 1. This happened to me when I was 10 years old in Calgary, Alberta, in 1970. I was walking home from school, cutting across the school sports field. Our house wasn't far. We lived across the street from the school. There weren't any other kids around, since I had stayed late for a volleyball practice, and the rest of the students had gone home 45 minutes earlier when school let out for the day. It is about 4:30 in the afternoon. Something caught my attention from the corner of my eye, and I stopped and turned to the right to look at it. Floating directly above a house-facing schoolyard was a large UFO. I was in the middle of the football field, so this is about 60 to 70 yards distant from where I stood. The UFO is big and almost touching the roof of the house. It is completely centered on the house, but it is so big. It also is above the house on the left and right. The lots there are 50 feet wide, which puts the UFO at about 150 feet across, and perhaps 25 to 30 feet tall. It is very bright, giving off a harsh white light, which is difficult to look at, since it hurts my eyes. I look away back towards my house and see a car and a motorcycle on the side street, which intersects the street with the UFO. That street is about half a block away, and I remember being surprised and confused that the drivers are not reacting to the UFO, which clearly must be visible to them, and so obvious, since it is so bright, but the traffic continues as normal. At that point, I become aware that something is forcing me to turn my head back toward the UFO. I'm turning, and my field of view is changing, but I'm not the one doing it. I struggle to turn away, but I simply can't control any of my body. I remember a feeling of panic. Then, the next thing that I can remember, I'm walking into my house. It is about 9:30 at night, and dark outside. I can't recall anything of the last 5 hours. My parents were furious with me for being so late. Apparently, my parents and my 2 brothers had been trying to find me for hours. A voice, thought in my head, tells me to tell them that I'm not feeling well, and I need to go to bed. I have no idea where that voice thought came from, but I do exactly as it suggests, and run upstairs to my room and go to bed. The next day, I still can't seem to explain what happened, and my mother is even more angry with me since my new school shoes are ruined, since the tops of them are all scuffed and dirty, like I was dragged face down across the ground with my feet still dragging on the ground. I told my older brothers what happened, and they suggested I keep quiet about it, since nobody would believe me. Good advice, as it turns out, since in the many years since, most of the people I have shared the story with don't really know what to say afterward. Many years later, I was looking at my old school workbooks from that time, and they were full of drawings of UFOs, all of the same design, and with more detail than I can recall from memory. For example, in my memory, I can't remember seeing any windows in the UFO, since the light was too bright to make out details. But in my drawings, there were large round windows all around the UFO, some with faces looking out. Story 2. I was home along one evening and had gone to sleep for the night. I live with my SO and 2 indoor cats, but she was out of state traveling for business. I woke up in the middle of the night. Wasn't sure of time, but it was completely dark, because because my body was freezing cold. I actually like it cool when I sleep, and usually have the temperature around 70 degrees or colder, since I live in central Texas. But this was different. I was ice cold, but wrapped in blankets. It was the middle of summer, so evenings weren't cold. When I grabbed my phone to look at the time, it seemed to be off, and I pressed the on button, but it didn't turn it on. Since I was half asleep, I shrugged this off. I walked out of my bedroom to go adjust the thermostat and noticed that the cats weren't around. This was weird because these fur balls are always hanging out in the bed or around the bed. Anyhow, I walked to the thermostat and tried to adjust it, but the power to the thermostat, I have a Nest, was nil, and the power to the house seemed to be off. I peeked out of the upstairs window to see if any of my neighbors were having power issues and noticed that all of their outdoor lights were working just fine. From the time I woke to this moment was probably 1 to 2 minutes maximum. I decide to wander downstairs to grab some water, but am startled when I realize there is a glow of light coming from the first floor. The way my house is situated, I couldn't see the light until I had approached the stairs. I found this odd because the power seemed to be out just upstairs, which didn't make a lot of sense. I started walking down the stairs and began to hear a faint humming noise. The noise had a high pitch to it, with arbitrary pulses of low sounds, almost like a muffled weed whacker that someone is throttling at random. As I continue to walk down the stairs, I spot a dark, slowly moving figure in the room, with light at the bottom of the stairs. The next step that I take feels like I walked off the side of a cliff or was sucked into the floor. That is really the best way I can explain it, because I don't remember what happened after that moment. I just lost all feeling from my body. My next memory is waking up again to the sound of my phone's alarm. Everything seemed back to normal. I sat there in bed, cats back to being lazy in bed next to me, and tried to think about the 2-minute incident that happened in the middle of the night. I am not a sleepwalker, and I was definitely not dreaming. My security system's app shows the time whenever a door is opened or closed. I realized that my security system was disarmed on the app, and that the front door had been opened and closed several times throughout the night. I pulled up my security footage from the exterior cameras and was surprised to learn that there was 0 footage from the night. Like the motion sensors reacted to a random car driving by around 10 p.m. And then the next thing is another random car in the morning. So something walked in and out of my front door, but the cameras did not capture any footage. My neighbor across the street has a good security system that points at my house, so I asked if he can review the footage from his cameras. I told him some made-up story about how I thought someone had broken into my truck. Anyway, he said it was weird because when he pulled up the footage from that night, his cameras did not record anything. Just a time gap once again. My first thought was that I was sleepwalking and that the memory was a dream, but it just couldn't have been. When I looked out of the window in the middle of the night, I distinctly recall a red pickup truck parked the wrong direction in front of the neighbor's house. I always notice when cars are parked left wheel to curb, because I've gotten a ticket for this in the past. Anyhow, the truck was not there before I went to sleep, based on footage, but was there in the morning, based on footage. So the truck was there when I saw it in the middle of the night. I definitely woke up in the middle of the night, cold as ice, no cats, no working phone or thermostat. saw the truck out of the window, and then got warped by something on the stairs. A couple additional things were different in the house. The security system was disarmed, and I definitely armed it before going to bed. The light was still on downstairs, and that was absolutely off before I went to bed. My whole body smelled like burnt marshmallows. I know this is weird, but it's really how it smelled. And lastly, my 55-gallon fish tank that sits at the bottom of the stairs in the entryway was missing 2/3 of the water. Seriously, where the fuck did 40+ gallons of water go? The whole area around the tank was bone dry, and the fish were fine. I think I was mind-effed by some thirsty aliens. So, do you think aliens roam our Earth? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe for other amazing horror stories.